All right, let's jump right in. Scotland's got thousands of years of history packed into it. And today, we're taking on a huge challenge, squeezing it all into one super fast journey. We're going to turn a giant list of must-see places into an actual adventure. Ready? Let's do this.
So, yeah, that's the big question, right? How on earth do you do that? Well, the answer is you focus on the absolute game changers, the spots that really define the nation's story. We've basically made the ultimate highlights reel for you, so buckle up because we're about to jump from iconic castles to haunting old ruins.
And where else could we possibly start? It has to be Scotland's historic capital. I mean, Edinburgh is a city literally built on stories. And its old town, well, that's chapter one.
Okay, so picture the Royal Mile as the main artery of Old Edinburgh. It's this cobbled street that connects centuries of power, running from a giant volcanic rock with a castle on top all the way down to a royal palace. Pretty much everything we're going to see is on or just off this one incredible street. Looming over the whole city, you absolutely cannot miss Edinburgh Castle. This isn't just some fortress, it's the keeper of the nation's crown jewels, the honors of Scotland. And get this, they're the oldest royal regalia in Britain. Tucked away inside is the city's oldest building, the tiny, beautiful St. Margaret's Chapel. It's an icon for a reason. Now, this is where you kind of get to choose your own adventure. If you've got family with you, the National Museum is a definite win. They've even got Dolly the sheep. If you're into something a little darker, the Surgeon's Hall has a pocketbook made from the skin of an infamous murderer. Yep. Or right inside the castle itself, you can dive into 400 years of conflict at the National War Museum. So let's walk all the way from that fortress at the top down to the other end of the Royal Mile. You leave the bustle behind, and you arrive at its regal counterpart, the Palace of Holyrood House. Now, this isn't some dusty museum. It's the king's actual residence when he's in Scotland, a real working royal palace, and it's set right against the wild, rugged hills of Holyrood Park. You've got this stunning contrast of royal architecture and raw nature, side by side. For all you art lovers, Edinburgh has two amazing but totally different options. So, what's your vibe? Are you looking for grand masterpieces in a classic national gallery? Or are you feeling more like cutting-edge contemporary art in a historic university setting? The choice is yours. And if you want to see how all these incredible places fit together, you have to climb Calton Hill. Seriously, it gives you that perfect postcard panorama of the whole city with all its famous monuments. It's the best spot to really get why this place is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But Scotland's story goes way beyond its capital. So now we're leaving the city and heading out to explore the dramatic coastline and those hauntingly beautiful ruins that are scattered all over the nearby landscape. Okay, check this out. It's called Blackness Castle, but everyone knows it as the ship that never sailed. And you can see why, right? Just look at its shape. This 15th century fortress juts out into the water and looks exactly like a massive stone boat that's run aground. So cool. Over in the historic town of St. Andrews, you get this amazing contrast. On one hand, you have the sprawling ruins of the cathedral, once the biggest church in Scotland, surrounded by this incredibly atmospheric old graveyard. And on the other hand, you've got the Clifftop Castle, a place of brutal conflict, famous for its terrifying bottle dungeon and these super claustrophobic siege tunnels. You can't talk about Scotland's story without talking about its legendary castles. So this next part is all about the icons, the fortresses and palaces that are famous all over the world. And we have to kick things off with the #1 most visited historic site in the whole country, Urquhart Castle. Look, 1,000 years of history is impressive enough, but its location is what makes it truly legendary, sitting right there on the mysterious, moody banks of Loch Ness. Hey, does this castle look familiar? It really should. Doane Castle is basically a movie star. If you're a Monty Python fan, this is the castle from the Holy Grail. If you're an Outlander fan, it's Castle Leo. And for Game of Thrones fans, it was the original Winterfell, a total must-see for any pop culture nerd. This slide just perfectly captures the sheer variety of Scottish strongholds. You've got the elegant royal birthplace at Linlithgow Palace, the raw medieval power of Bothwell Castle, and then the massive military might of Fort George, which is one of the strongest artillery forts in Europe. 3 places, 3 totally different stories of power.
Okay, for our final section, we're going to connect these incredible places to the legendary people whose lives are literally written into the stone and soil of Scotland.
I mean, no one's story is more woven into Scotland than Mary, Queen of Scots. Her absolutely dramatic life begins at the magnificent Linlithgow Palace, we just saw that one, but you can also trace her journey to a 16th century tower house in Jedburgh, a place she stayed during a really fateful time in her reign. It's now a whole center dedicated to her story.
Just look at that date, 1136. That is how far back the story of Melrose Abbey goes. Today, it is hands down one of the most beautiful and evocative ruins in the entire country. But it holds more than just beauty. It's guarding a legendary royal secret.
And here it is, buried right there under the abbey, is the heart of King Robert the Bruce, one of Scotland's greatest national heroes. His body is buried somewhere else, but he requested that his heart be brought back to rest in Scottish soil. Just an absolutely incredible piece of history. Finally, let's talk about a literary legend, Sir Walter Scott. This guy basically invented the romantic image of Scotland that we all have in our heads today. And at Abbotsford, he built his dream home, a fantasy in stone that's been perfectly preserved. As he said, he really did make the most of his time, leaving behind a home that's as captivating as his books.
So there you have it, a complete whirlwind tour. From royal palaces and mighty fortresses to sacred ruins and literary homes. We've journeyed through 1,000 years of history. And I guess the only real question left is, which one of these incredible stories are you going to step into first?